while we're kind of figuring out all that. There we go.
Okay. I gotta wait for it to actually go.
While we're kind of figuring out all that. There we go.
Here we go. Hi, guys. Hello. Good evening. Happy Thursday. I am so excited to be here tonight with my co-host, Jolene Crawford. I'm Jolene Countryman. We are here tonight. We're JoJo Squared. We're here tonight because we're going to do the good, the bad, and the pink. Follow-up and coaching edition, my friends. This is part 3 in a series. I have to go back and label part 2 because I did that wrong last week, but that's fine. It's okay. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about first and foremost is that we are going to be walking you through this series. And so if you're starting at this is part 3, go back to part 1, generating leads. And you can always come back to this and see it as needed, my sweet friends. So we are going to be talking about coaching. So we're going to talk about how to book and how to coach. Okay, guys. So we're also going to talk about following up because follow up is so important. All right. So we're going to walk you through some of these. We're going to go over a little bit of challenges that you might come across. And we're going to talk about how to coach in person as well as virtually. Okay. So I'm going to let Jolene start with talking about coaching in person because she has been doing this for 8 years. And my unit, we've been doing this for a year virtually.
Yeah. So, well, then I'll focus on the in-person. And so, yes, I started 9 years ago and we did in-person, we didn't do virtual then. And I will say there is a little difference when you coach in person as opposed to coaching virtually. And I've been getting back into doing the in-person. So it's kind of come back to like, oh my goodness, I forgot I have to do this and that. So one of the biggest things when you coach anything, a party, an interview, if you give somebody a pampering pack and you want them to try it, is we have to remember, I always like to start with this. Do not leave the success of your business up to somebody else. It is our responsibility to coach, to follow up. So if you give somebody a pampering pack, if you book a party with them, we have to make sure that that party's the most successful it can be. We have to coach the hostess. We have to help them be successful as a hostess. They don't know what it takes to have a successful party. And so let's start with that first and foremost is it is our responsibility. So you put that on you. That we've got to take the time to coach as well as follow up. So coaching in person looks more like, I personally, what we used to do is used to get a guest list, or the hostess would send us a guest list. We would follow up with them. We would call with them, double check what their skincare is, make sure that there's no allergy skincare concerns. But the biggest thing is just contacting them and getting that rapport, starting that connection with them. It can be a phone call. It can be a text. I will tell you, we text more, right? And so it used to look like, send me the guest event or the guest list. I will contact the people to make sure, because what happens is if you have a hostess and they say, oh, I have 10 people coming. Oh, you can't just show up. No. Because they will, I promise you, if you have 10 people that are coming, there'll be one person because nobody's coached them, right? So what I used to do is when I turned it into more texting is they would give me that list or they would tell their guests to contact me. Okay, all RSVPs come to me. Contact me, text me. So they would say, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm going to be at Susie's party. I would respond back with, fantastic. I'm so excited to meet you. Can I get your skin type? Do you have any concerns? I'm going to have a goodie bag with your name on it, waiting for you. Then they're getting excited. Then they think, oh, I better go. She's going to have a little bag with my name on it, right? We even went as far as taking a picture of the goodie bag with their name on it and sending it, right? Now you're going to hesitate to cancel you're going to want to go to that party, right, to get that little goodie bag. So the way we used to do in person, I mean, we went all out. I still do that, but it might not be as detailed as I used to be. So I'm giving you guys some suggestions. But the biggest thing is you have to talk to the guest one-on-one. Even if they can't make it, now you have their contact information. You can still send them a pampering pack. You can still follow up with them. So if they don't show up to the party, it's, oh, we missed you. I can send you your little goodie bag if you can give me a one-on-one appointment or whatnot. So that is the biggest thing. And I have found that what happens is if you don't take the time to start that rapport, there's no reason and no excitement for them to come to that party. You know, like they don't know you. But when you put that time into coaching that guest, right, they will be more likely to show up at the party. Now, when it comes to coaching the hostess, again, it goes with anything. It is our responsibility to remind them of who they know. Okay, so who do you know? Who's your neighbor, your coworker, your sister, your mom, your mother-in-law, your friends who will come over, have some fun with you, who likes to party with you, who's your group. You've got to, again, remind them like who that is. Because sometimes they'll be like, oh, they'll invite 3 people. Well, again, you invite 3 people, you might have 1 show up. So we do need to work with the numbers. So you got to remind them, help them, coach them. And then you're coaching them throughout the whole process. You're getting them excited. Like, here, I talked to so-and-so. They're so excited about coming. I'm going to bring this, and this is how it's going to look. And my goal is to get you this for free. And I'm going to bring you a little gift for having the party. And my goal is that we have 2 bookings from your party. So start to think of what friends will do that. So again, you're getting them excited about the party and you're getting them prepared for how the party's going to look when we get there. Okay. So I know most everybody on here is doing virtual. Okay. So I won't spend too much time with in person, but just please know that's an option. And in-person parties are very powerful. I think our sales are higher. I think the connection is better. I think we recruit stronger from in-person parties because they get to see how we work in person, hands-on, but they also get to see you. They get to love you more because when we're one-on-one with somebody, we get that special rapport with them. So that is how I suggest coaching for the hostess and also the guest when it comes to in-person. Back to
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. I agree. The connection is better in person. And typically, like, you build customers for life a whole lot faster because that connection gets built a whole lot quicker. It's a lot harder to ghost somebody if you're talking to them on the phone and you built rapport with them. And so I'm going to take a little bit more of the virtual approach. Okay, so first of all, we send out a lot of pampering packages with this. And so one of the things to know is with pampering packages, if you are mailing them a pampering package, make sure that you've already made contact with them, that the hostess isn't just giving you a bunch of addresses of people she thinks might attend. Okay, so typically when I coach my hostesses, the first thing I'm going to tell them is invite everybody on your Facebook list. Okay, because the thing is a couple of things. So first of all, people are going to accept the invite. The people who accept the invite, they're saying, okay, I'm allowing you. In my head, they're saying, I'm giving you consent to message me. Okay. Sometimes they don't pay attention to the group name, which I make it very, very obvious. Like, Sarah's Mary Kay party. Okay. So like if they join that party, I'm assuming that they have consent and they know what they're there for. Okay. And so oftentimes I will have the hostess post and just say like, hey, welcome everybody. I'm so excited for my party on such and such date. And then we go ahead and we do engagement posts in there so that it keeps the customers and the future guests and the customers engaged with the products. It also increases their product knowledge. So what I do is I actually make it so easy for the hostess that I do all the work. Okay. So she adds the people, I message them, I direct message them. And you have 2 options with Facebook Messenger. If that's what you're using, you can use the voice, which is powerful. People don't know you. Okay. So oftentimes when you book a hostess, you don't know their guests. And so when you're using your voice, you're no longer a fake person to them when they listen to that. And normally if people see a voice message, they will listen to it. as opposed to, hey, my name's Jolene. I'm with Mary Kay. I'm so excited to party with you, whatever. And so what I do is I go ahead and I send them all voice messages. From there, I give them 24 hours to reply. All right. Because if you're not friends with them, and so that is a personal choice of whether you want to friend request all of these people. I normally do because it doesn't bother me to have friends I don't know. Plus they're still in contact with me. So if they become my friend, they're hopefully going to become a future hostess and they're going to share their friends with me too. And so from there, once they see that you're a friend and they make you a friend, they're more likely to see your messages. Otherwise, it goes into this message request area for Facebook. And so they have to click on a different folder. And a lot of people just don't do that. And so just keep in mind that that's where it goes oftentimes. So if they are not super tech savvy, if they are just somebody who doesn't read on like messages from people they don't know, they're probably not going to go in there. And so you have the opportunity to post in your group. So there's two ways that we do the group. In my unit, we actually decided to start doing block parties because I was hosting my own. I was getting enough hostesses. I was having to go live anyways. And this gives my consultants an opportunity to actually pop their people onto my lives. And it's one group, it's all hostesses. That's what we talk about. A lot of times we flip the hostesses into consultants. So I'm doing a couple of lunch parties in there this month, but that's fine. The exposure I think is good. So you reach out to their guests. Okay. If they don't reply to you, go ahead and try one more time. I give them 2 days, okay, 24 hours. And then I go ahead and I message them a text message with the same information that my voice message had in it. From there, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to my hostess if they haven't replied. I'm going to say, hey, listen, these are the people that are in this group and have not replied. And can you reach out to them and can you get their address and their skin type or ask them to just message me back, okay? So from there, you're going to go ahead and however you request samples, you're going to request samples for this. About 2 or 3 days prior to your party, you're going to reach out to your hostess and you're going to ensure that she's ready, that she knows when it is, that she's excited, and have her just kind of get excited in the group if she can, or reach out to the people and just be like, oh my God, I'm so excited for my party on Thursday or whenever it is. The other thing that I want you guys to do is reach back out to them. And in the meantime, in that middle part where you're waiting for them to get their samples, that's where you can build that rapport. Ask them, tell me about yourself. Do you have kids? What do you do for a living? All of that good stuff. Because the more rapport you build, the better connection you have, the more likely they are to buy and become future team members. Okay. And so from there, the better connection you get, the more likely they are to show up. The one good thing about virtual parties is they never cancel. They always hold. Maybe nobody shows up, but you are always going to go live if you're doing the live, or I will always go live, or Jolene will always go live, because that's the way we have it set up. So even if nobody comes, typically what we do is we just run through those a little bit quicker. But what you're going to do is you're going to remind them of the party. Hey, it's tomorrow. Did you get your samples? Just checking in. And then you're going to build rapport. I recommend building rapport every time you talk to somebody. And so once they reply to you, once they give you all of their information, all of that stuff, then you just continue the conversation in a natural way and flow. Okay. Tell them a little bit about yourself, try to find common ground with them to build that connection. Once the party starts, obviously, you're going to have the hostess tag everybody if you're the one going live. You can tag them as well. And then you really want, and this is something that I coach my consultants as well as my hostesses. I'm like, can you get a hype person? Can you get somebody in that group for that live that's going to show up and they're going to buy everything. They're going to book everything. They're going to do a pink possibility chat. They're going to do all the things. They don't necessarily have to do all the things, but guess what happens once they say oil-free eye makeup remover sold? A lot more other people are like, oh, sold. Oh, I'll do a PPC. Cool. Me too. And so the thing is you're building this momentum. You're building this kinetic energy where people actually feel comfortable to say sold. And then what you're going to do is after the party, you're going to follow up with them. And so we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but all of that time that you're spending getting hostesses, you want to make sure you take really good care of them, because the thing is they want to know what they're getting. So whatever hostess program you're doing, whatever hostess rewards you're doing, if you're doing a free gift, you want to make sure that you let them know what they are going to be getting regardless of the fact if anybody shows or not. And so make sure that you're just educating them on that and you're letting them know like, hey, listen, this is a great time for you to host a party and this is what you get. Okay.
Follow up? What happened?
Am I going into follow up all the way?
I just wasn't sure. Is it my turn or what?
I thought we were doing like coaching and then we were going to come back.
Yeah. You want me to start follow up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and start follow up. It's okay.
I was trying to pull up a picture of coaching and follow up, so I didn't know you were taking a drink, and I'm like, What, did I lose everybody? What happened?
We lost
Sorry.
connection. It's fine.
Listen, if we can be directors, anybody can be directors, ladies. Just
right.
know that.
Free car driving directors.
Yes, both of us. So you do not have to be perfect, because goodness knows we are far from that. But we're here and we show up. Okay, so follow up. Woo! The fortune is in the follow up. If you do not follow up after anything, what's the point of doing a party, of sending a pampering pack, of doing an interview? Like, really, people will not be knocking on your door. People will not, sometimes they will, but people aren't always going to jump on your website and order after a party. That's why we're here. I cannot say it enough. It is our responsibility to follow up and make it successful. So following up after, in person's a little different. Okay. So you're going to do an individual close with somebody there, but the follow up for an in-person is going to look more like, hey, we scheduled that coffee chat. I'll meet you here. I'll talk to you here. I'll call you here. So that's going to be the follow up there. That's going to be also some customer service when it comes to how are the products. But follow up, I think the most important thing is as soon as you're off a party, you contact the people that are on the party. We're going to talk more virtual now because, like I said, in person, you're kind of there, you're already following up with the orders because you're going to take orders before you leave. But I think the most important thing is I always, as soon as I'm done, contact everybody immediately who was on the party. Thank you so much for joining. Did you have a good time? How did your skin feel? Do you have any questions? And then after you get that response back, then you go into, is there anything that you tried tonight that you would like to purchase? And then go from there. I always personally finish the sale first, then I book them for a hostess. That's what I do. That's what I've always been taught, is because sometimes if you try to book them for a hostess first, they won't buy anything. So I try to, get that sale done. They're paid. And then would you like to be a hostess to earn the rest of the product that maybe you have on your wish list? And then also I would love to do a 20-minute phone conversation with you. Then you book the thing. So I do that after. But I think the biggest thing is just contacting right after the party, everybody who's on the party, and then contacting the people who got the pampering packs who didn't get on the party. So sorry you missed the live. Don't worry, it's still up. And I do want to throw something in there real quick. When you do anything for virtual parties, the most important thing you could do is tag every single person on every single post, because they will get notified. So everybody who's in your group, tag on every single post that you post in that group. They'll get notifications for it. Otherwise, they don't always see them. That's like the new thing that I'm really making sure that I do, is every time I say, thank you so much for joining the party. Thank you for so-and-so for being a hostess. Here's how you can help so-and-so earn some free product. And then I tag every single person who's in that group so that they can see that. So that's just a little side note. Make sure you're tagging everybody in every single post, because then with Facebook, they don't show everybody all of your posts in a group. And so you want to make sure that that's another way that you're coaching also in following up, and all in the one thing is you're tagging everybody so that they can see it. Kind of like Jolene said, when you friend request somebody, they're going to be more likely to see your message, because if you're not friends, and when I follow up, I always follow up with the hostess as well. This was so much fun. You had a great group. I'm going to contact everybody, but you need to also, because they may not see my message. They may not know. But the biggest thing is enroll your hostess in the follow-up, because they're the ones who are going to get more. It's going to pay off for them if their sales are higher, if they get bookings. So I always enroll my hostess and say, I'm so excited. Let's get you a free miracle set if we can get you enough free product, if that's what they want. Or let's get you 2 bookings because I have this special going. Who do you think would book a party, or who could you get to book a party? There has been so many hostesses of mine who go make their friends book a party. I had somebody who wasn't even on the party, wasn't even a guest, wasn't even an RSVP for the party. And that hostess went and said, hey, my friend wants to host. I'm like, okay, out of the blue. So that follow-up really is so key. So key. It can mean the difference between a $20 sales party and a $300 party. if not more, right? Same thing with launches, same thing with launch parties. So I will have Jolene also add in some things there.
Okay, so a couple of things with the follow-up. Typically we use a closing sheet. Okay, so when I go ahead and I do my closing, when I'm doing the live, I'm telling them to circle the sets that they want or write down. And I typically ask them 2 questions at the end. I'm asking them what they would like to get started with today. And then the second question is going to be like, what is their interest in that Mary Kay opportunity? And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them, how does your face feel? How was it? How was it? And if they weren't on, it's okay. I'm still going to ask them that question because it's going to make them feel bad. They got samples. They need to use them and they need to tell me how their face feels. Okay. And so typically if they say, oh my God, I haven't used it yet, that is when I say, oh my God, the replay's up. I would absolutely love for you to watch the replay. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back to tag them in there. And then I go ahead and I copy the link to the replay and I send it to them. Okay. So when we're talking about digital and virtual, people are very distracted. Okay. They're very distracted, like in life. Okay. And if you're the one person that is focused and you have goals and you're going to do what you dream and what you want to do, you are the one of very few that are actually focused. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're messaging people, when you're following up with people, especially if you tend to have a later party and they go ahead and they do their beauty sleep Sunday and then they fall asleep. Okay. So you want to make sure that your follow-up is on point, that you're asking them those questions and that you don't just give it one try, give it multiple tries. I always say 3. You want to reach out to them at least 3 times before you give up on them. And even still, like, let's say I have a bunch of people that never replied to me when I reached out to them when we were earning Cadillac in September. And so I'm reaching out to them again this time, because you know what, maybe their life situation has changed. But with that being said, with the follow-up, the second question I'm going to ask them is, what was your favorite product? I just like to get to know them. Like, what is your favorite product? And then from there, whatever they say, oh, that gritty stuff or whatever their comment is, I'm like, awesome. Oh my God, let me see your wish list. Send me a picture of, the closing sheet. Or if you didn't do the closing sheet, what were your 2 questions, the answers to your 2 questions? And so if they were just one of those people, they weren't prepared, they didn't really do a whole lot, they weren't very interactive, that's okay. I'm going to let them know that, like, what would you like to get started with? Okay. So I don't typically ask them if they would like to make a purchase. I ask them, what would you like to get started with today? And so typically what that will do is it initiates them to be like, oh, I need to buy something, even if they weren't planning on buying something. And so whether it's a mascara or it's a micellar water or whatever they end up purchasing from you, oftentimes that's like cracking your door. Okay. They're cracking their door for you. And from there, kind of like what Jolene was saying, bribe your hostesses, you guys. I do a hostess program where if I know that they are in love with the microdermabrasion or they have their eye on a brush set, I'm like, listen, if you get 2 bookings, if you get 2 hostesses, I will give you this for free. And they're like, what? So guess what happens? They start messaging all of their friends. Oh my God, I need you to book. I need you to book. I need you to book. They book, you have your 2 bookings. And right there, I guarantee you've made your $27.50 back. And so the other way that you can do that too is not by limiting yourself, letting them know for every booking that you get, you can get a $25 credit when it holds. And so what you do from there is you basically just let them know, hey, if you can find hostesses, because one of the things y'all will learn with this business more than anything else is I have had so many consultants where, when they hosted a party for their consultant, it was a dud party. And then they have a party and so many people come out and they support them. It's because they know them. They know they're enrolled in the goal. They know that they actually love the products, not that they were just talked into another Facebook party. Okay. So you definitely want them enrolled in that follow-up. And so typically if I can't get a hold of somebody, I will definitely have the hostess reach out to them and just make sure that, first of all, that they tried their samples. All right. We pay money for those. They are not cheap and they are not free. We purchase them from the company and then we mail those out. So we want to ensure that they use those samples. I remember from my launch party, I had a girl, one of my good friends, she used to come over all the time. And she had her samples for 4 months, y'all. I'm not even kidding you. And she would come over, her son would play with my son. I'd be like, hey, you wash your face with those samples yet? She's like, nope. 4 months later, she's like, oh my God, I finally lose my samples. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything. And then what else can I get? And so the biggest thing I want you to know is that once you get product in their hand, most people will eventually use it. Okay. Eventually they will use it. And so when I say don't give up on people after the follow-up, the fortunes in the follow-up is sometimes it's timing. Okay. Maybe their life is crazy. You never know what's going on with them. And when you follow up with them 2 months later and you're like, hey girl, how you been? You have already built rapport with that person because you did that when you were booking. All right. When you were actually figuring out what their address was, when you were figuring out what their skin type was, and when you were talking to them up until the party, and then you're probably checking in with them because we all got goals. Okay. And so when you follow up with them and it may be months after the party, that may be when they decide to buy the ultimate miracle set, or they say, you know what, I would absolutely love to book with you. So I typically go off of the 4Bs. Buy. So the first thing I'm going to ask them is if, they would like to purchase anything after I ask them how they like the products. And so from there, like Jolene said, we're going to close the sale. We're going to close the sale. And then I'm going to work on bookings. Okay. I asked them if they have any desire to try our makeup, our body care. Oh my God, let me just send you Hydra Session samples because you're going to be in the best time of your life. Okay. And so from there, you're just going to build that rapport in the middle of it. Okay. So you're always building rapport, always building rapport. And then you're going to go ahead and try and book them for a follow-up event or have them host a party for you, or maybe both. The more products that you can introduce to your guests, your customers, the more products they're going to fall in love with. So let's say Mary Jo is married to her skincare line. You can use just kind of like what we were talking about last week when we were saying, use her as some way to get feedback. She may never buy skincare from you, but if you never introduce body care to her, she's never going to buy body care from you. And so the thing is the more samples you get into people's hands and the more items that they try, we have a huge selection of products. So you will find something for them. Okay. And you're giving them that pink Cadillac customer service. And so as you're building rapport, hopefully they build that trust with you and they start to tell you their skincare concerns. And from there, you can kind of tailor what events they attend or what samples that you choose to send them. And so follow-up is huge. It's so huge because a lot of the times we get busy, we forget, write it down. Okay. I know we all get busy. Keep a little notebook and write down notes as you need them. Oh crap. I gotta follow up with Shay this week. I forgot to follow up with her. She was on Hydra Session or whatever. And so the thing is it is your responsibility as a beauty consultant to follow up with people. It is not their responsibility to buy product from you. It is your responsibility to give them that high priority customer service because you need to make yourself more convenient, nicer, prettier than the big box stores. Okay. Because it's easy to go to H-E-B and buy body wash. It's easy to go buy fragrances. It's a lot harder to say, hey, Jolene, I ran out my body wash. You haven't contacted me in 4 months and I bought some at H-E-B and I don't want to deal with you shipping it from Texas. And so the thing is you have to make yourself convenient. So follow up is important. Sorry, this rant over.
No, that's a great rant. I like that.
I'm all dry now. The Sahara.
Look at that. We want to go into some objections now that we might hear. Okay, so I think the biggest objection that I hear most is they aren't interested in buying product. I will tell you most of the time it's financial reasons. I just had that right now. Right before I jumped on here, I had somebody say, I don't have any money right now. Well, of course you book them as a hostess then, because then get free product. So that's what I do. As soon as they say, I'm so sorry, I don't have any money or whatnot. And I know that they want to help their friend who's their hostess. So I always say, okay, great, no problem. We can book you for your own party. You would get some free product. You would get your own hostess credit and you're going to help your friend get hostess credit. So it's a win-win. I always say it's a win-win. You get free product, your hostess or your friend as a hostess is going to get some hostess credit. And so I just did that and I just booked a party that way. So I hear that more than anything is not so much they don't want to buy it, they don't like it. It's just more financially, they're not able to. So I always turn that into a hostess. That's what I end up doing with that objection.
So the next objective we're going to talk about is ghosting. Okay. How many people have experienced ghosting? I guess. Okay. So first of all, I just want to tell you guys, it's part of the process. Okay. Part of no's or ghosting really in the virtual world, because we used to get no's out and about. Now you just get ghosted a lot of the times. You get left on red, as we like to call it. Okay. For the longest time, I didn't know what that meant. And I'm like, what is red? Like
my kids taught me that.
What are we talking about? I know. I'm like, oh, red, R-E-A-D.
Yeah. I thought it was a color too. I'm like, why do you guys keep saying that?
I know, right? Like I'm hip, I'm cool, I got you. And so like when people ghost you, first of all, the first thing I want to say, and we're going to really talk about this in week 5, which is going to be the first week of July. And that's emotional resiliency, you guys. Emotional resiliency is so important in this business. And so I'm just going to touch on it very briefly. And I'm going to say that ghosting is a part of the business. The no's get you to the yeses. The more no's you hear, trust me, you're doing it right. And one of the things that I know that I don't remember who was the person who brought it up or invented it or whatever you want to call it, came up with the idea, but track your no's. Instead of tracking your yeses, track your no's. It will shift your mindset. You will be like, daggone, it has never taken me so long to hit 100 no's in my life. Like, are you kidding me? And so when people ghost you, take it as an opportunity for you to grow emotionally. Okay. I don't want you to think like, oh, they're rejecting you. First of all, and I don't mean to say this to be rude, I mean this as in a loving way as possible. They're not even thinking about you. Okay. So in terms of like, if they're ghosting you, it's because they're not thinking about you, and that is okay. So don't waste your time getting upset and emotionally attached to the fact that this random person got samples and they never texted you back. Because the thing is people get busy. Don't waste your time stressing over it. And if anything, take a deep breath and give them maybe a day or two. Try to reach out to them 3 times. If they don't reply back, reach out to them when you start doing your bulk text for your goals. Okay. Eventually they will either get back to you when they actually try the product, or they won't. And if they won't, it's okay. It's completely okay. And I know it sucks getting told no and getting ghosted and having people ignore you. But realistically, imagine how many times, especially when y'all get busy, how many times do you open something and you never reply back? And if you're not that busy yet, it's cool. You'll get there. Okay. And so eventually what ends up happening sometimes is we all do it. We all leave people on red. So it's not personal. It's that you're busy. Technology is constantly in our hands. And so what you need to just do is become emotionally resilient. Track your no's. It's going to make you stronger in the long run. And don't take ghosting personal, because it's not.
And one thing I did want to just quickly add is also ask your hostess to contact them, because if they don't respond to your hostess, then they're not going to respond to you. But most of the time they'll let your hostess know, no, I can't buy anything or whatever right now. But I always, yes, it's our job. We're following up with them multiple times. But then I always let the hostess know, like, hey, I had these people who got swag bags. I reached out to them. I haven't heard back. Would you be able to follow up with them and ask them if there's anything they want to order to support your party? It's your party, hostess, right? So it's supporting their party. So that is the only thing I would add is, and then, yeah, don't take it personal if they don't respond. So that's it.
Awesome. You want to do the next one?
Yeah. Well, that next one, I think you might want to start with the show up to tons of the events. Okay. So if you have somebody who's showing up to a lot of the, I'm assuming we're going to be talking more about the theme lives we do. And you get a lot of people RSVPing, but they show up, they never buy over and over and over again. Sometimes I wonder if the products they're not interested in, and is it better to contact them and say, hey, I know you've been in a bunch of our events. I know, I think it's fine to come right out and say, I know you haven't purchased anything. Are there products that you're more interested in? Is there something that, they may just not be into, like, I guess what we do or so it's okay to say to them, like, is there something that I could customize for you? Or it could be a money thing. Wouldn't that be awesome to reach out to somebody and say, if they say, I'm just not financially ready to, oh, well, then can we get you a hostess, make you a hostess? And we can get you some of these free products, because then I would feel terrible if they're in all these events, they're trying all these products, they're falling in love with all these products, and the poor girl can't buy nothing, like that hurts my heart. Like, I'm here to help them get some free products. So I would say, that issue with having somebody who's constantly at the events and never buys anything, I don't want to assume. I'm going to assume that it is financial again, because if they didn't like our products, they wouldn't RSVP to them. That's just how I feel. So Jolene might have another take on that, because you guys do more virtual lives with your group than we do. So I'm going to bounce this back to Jolene for her ideas as well.
Okay. So making them a hostess is always the answer. Like, you don't have money, you're a hostess. You broke your leg, that's fine. You're going to be a hostess. It's fine. Okay. You've been shot. Awesome. You're a hostess. Okay. Hostess is always the answer. No, but what I want to say about that is, so keep in mind a couple of things. Some people just enjoy the virtual events. Okay. So if they haven't purchased anything, they may just need some connection in their life. They may just need to connect with people and need some friends and some positivity, and they think they're fun to go to. And so if it is finances, obviously make them a hostess. If they're just enjoying the events, I remember talking to Shannon about this a while back, and she was like, should we quit sending them samples? I said, nah, let's keep sending them samples. It's fine. They can still try stuff as long as they're not getting to the point where they're trying to redo events or anything like that. I don't have a problem having them come to what I like to call lotto events on Tuesday. They change all the time. They can win free product on bingo. There's a bunch of different reasons why they may not want to purchase product. Maybe they know a beauty consultant. They already have a beauty consultant, but they like your events better. I've seen that happen before too. And so obviously we're going to ask that question, not if you already have a beauty consultant. I think most of us we assume that, oh, you want samples? Cool. You don't have a beauty consultant, but sometimes they do. I'm not going to lie. There's been times in the past year and a half that I've been a beauty consultant that people will be like, oh yeah, I already have a beauty consultant. And you guys, seriously, I've had that happen at in-person parties where they come and they're like, oh, my sister does this or something like that. And I'm like, cool, try these products anyways. At the end of the day, miss go give. Okay. Remember, what would Mary Kay do? All right. She would still put product on their face. She would probably still let them sample the products. And so if they're showing up to the events and they're never buying, more than likely it's a financial concern or it's emotional attachment. And so they're coming to those events to feel connected. I know, especially during the pandemic, people were so disconnected and our events are fun. We're hilarious. And so they want to be a part of something bigger. And so with that, a lot of the times, if they're still communicating with you and when you ask them if they want to purchase product, they just like ghost you. But they talk about your kids and they sign up for events. What I always recommend is, as long as it's not in excess, if they're having fun, try to get to know them more so that you can actually hopefully drop that wall of resistance and find out why they're coming and why they're not purchasing product. Okay. And if it is a financial concern, like we said before, get them to be a hostess. So no RSVPs from a party. So are you talking about bookings and bookings?
Well, if you have a party booked and the hostess doesn't have any guests, and guess what we do? We tell the hostess, enroll the hostess. You got to get some friends, friend.
Well, and I've had that happen. I had a party that she booked off of mine. And this was back before I was doing block parties. So I made her a group, was posting the group. There was 3 people in it. One was my assistant. One was me. One was her. And so I had talked to her several times. I said, hey, you got to get more people on. And so one thing I will say is be a detective a little bit. Okay. Go look at their friends list. Because when you look and you're like, oh, you have 7 friends. Crap, I should have booked you as a hostess. So sometimes what I will do is I will let them shop at a discount. Okay. So if I've already talked to them about the opportunity, you're getting them hooked on products by letting them shop at a discount. When you're like, hey, listen, go ahead and shop at 30% off. You're going to pay for shipping tax, but I'll give you a discount on whatever products you want just because you decided to host for me. And so oftentimes what ends up happening is they get all of the things that they want. And guess what they're going to have to do? Reorder. And they're probably still going to come to follow on events. And so just because nobody showed up to their party, I do not make them feel bad about that. They probably already do. But I will touch base with them and I will go back. So if you are admin of the group, you can go to the top, click on all the little people, and it will show you who was invited. So if you look at invited and she's got 1,200 friends on her friends list and she invited 2, then obviously you're going to go back to that coaching. You're going to be like, hey, Sarah, I'm going to need you to invite those 1,200 friends of yours. Cool. Awesome. But if she doesn't have any friends to invite, sometimes they want to try the product and they're praying their hostesses or their people actually show up. So they get hostess rewards and they can't rely on other people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just so much bigger than that. And so if they're going ahead and they are hosting a party with no guest, do some investigating first and then talk to them. Hey, do you know why nobody showed up for you? And you kind of go from there. And that's going to be something that you're going to start at the beginning when you're coaching. If they don't have a lot of friends, all of that good stuff. You'll either learn or you'll learn the hard way, because I learned the hard way booking people with 5 friends. I'm like, what are you doing? Why don't you check on your profile? And it's fine. Everybody does it. And so, you still reward them in some way, shape, or form.
I love that. I think that, especially like you said, it makes them feel bad anyways. So why would we want to make them feel worse? What we used to do is a $75 purchase for $35. Even if there were no sales, nobody showed up. Again, this was in person, or if they had 3 people show up in person, we always gave them the $75 for $35, because it really is just our discount. And then if they spent over 75, then it was just profit for us, but it made them feel good. It wasn't anything out of our pocket. It was, just, we didn't get profit, but we didn't, get anything else out of our pocket. But again, it gave them something. It gave them, but I so agree with that. We're not here to make people feel bad, and that some things are out of their control. It really is. And for them to attempt to do a party, I'm going to love them for that, for sure. Love them for that. So I appreciate you saying that, Jolene, about that. Like, they're going to feel bad anyways. So give them some kind of discount just for helping.
They already don't have friends. Lord, don't make them feel bad about it. Shoot.
Yeah. I'll be their friend.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, shoot, I'm in your group. That's fine.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though, for as far as to protect yourself, like if you're the one going live and you see that it's just you, your assistant, and her, don't go live. Don't waste your time. Because the thing is I have pre-recorded Beauty Sleep Sundays. And what I did is I went ahead and I posted the link in there. And then I just followed up with her and I said, hey, just wanted to let you know, this is how I'm going to give you a discount, or do a 75 for 35 or 80 for 40 or whatever you want to do. And then from there, I always try to book them up for follow-on events. I'm always trying to get them on more products. I always want to introduce them to more products, because even if they've already bought all of the skincare, they have body skin. They need to smell good, all the things. Okay. And you never know what somebody needs until they get it.
Absolutely. I was just going to say something and I forgot. Something you said sparked something. I'm like, oh, that was a good point. What did you just say?
I don't know.
It was good, but I know you pre-record. I have been on before where there are people in the group, but nobody shows up. This is a really interesting thing, because we get this a lot. I think now that it's summer too, not everybody's in the house early. Mm-hmm. So I have told my unit over and over again, you don't go through your typical script. All right. If you've got one person on or you got no one, and I'm saying, Jolene's saying, if you don't have anybody in the group, I'm saying, if you got people in the group, but they're just not on, I just am very aware. I give everybody time to get on. And then I'll say, you know what, I'm just going to do a condensed form of it. So everybody who's watching this on replay, you can just go through the steps with me and you'll know what's going on. I'm not going to give prizes away. I'm not going to be asking questions. So I can do a 16-minute skincare class. That's what I've done. And so then I just go right into the products: oil for eye makeup remover, micellar water, the miracle set. The charcoal mask I won't put on. I'll talk about it, because I do show the product. You may not even want to show the product if you don't have anyone on. You might just want to, QVC style it, but you can also wash your face. I'm always into washing my face, right? But you do something real quick and you just let them know, comment replay, and you'll get entered into a drawing if you want to do it that way. So they'll have to watch till the end, comment replay. You have let the hostess know, hey, I made a real quick video because nobody was on, and I'll still give people credit if they watch it on replay, because sometimes you get in like a deer in headlights. You're on there and you're like, and that's the one thing is I'm like, prepare now for something that will happen if you do enough parties. It will happen. So be ready. Like, as soon as I see, a couple people are on, maybe they're not, maybe it's a consultant of mine, maybe like she's, Jolene said, maybe it's just the hostess. Boom, I'm going to go right into my 16-minute skincare class and then be done. And it's there for everybody to rewatch and then follow up. So.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because I've done that before where I'm like, good evening. And then, so again, we circle back around to emotional resiliency. Okay. So if you send out 10 sample packs for this party and nobody's sitting there on the live, give them, I would say, a couple of minutes. Make sure you tag them, make sure the hostess is on. There's been times where I've launched new consultants and they don't even show. And so first of all, be protective of your time. Okay. Protect yourself in that manner, because trust me, if you sit on there and you're on that live for 60 minutes and not a soul shows up, you're going to feel really bad by the end. And so what I want you to do is, first of all, just know that it's not you. It's clearly them. And then the other part is that run through it, give them the information, but do it high speed. Good evening. We're going to be going over my soil water, this soil for eye makeup remover. You can be like an auctioneer. Hey, have a great night. Awesome. And so you don't necessarily have to go into depth, but I would give them a couple of days to watch it and then obviously follow up with them. If they get samples, I'm harassing them a few times for sure. Okay. So coaching, we got coaching. Do we have anything else, or was that everything?
I think we did really well, and we covered everything, and we did coaching, follow up, the most important part, the objections. We're good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Those on Zoom, you guys can stay on with us. As far as everybody else, we will see you next week, and we are going to be going over the good, the bad, the pink,